Broadcasting from the Meredith Hall Studios out of Carson City, Nevada. You're listening to Covering the Field with Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, and Joe the Answer Ellison.
Well, hello, everybody. It's the eve of NFL football, and it's Covering the Field. We're all over it. It's Wednesday night. Tomorrow, football starts, gentlemen. Let's get started with the NFL.
Finally.
Well, you want to start with week one? I mean, we got the Thursday night game.
Well, I think we should start with week one, not week two, because we wouldn't know what we're talking about yet. So let's talk about week one.
Maybe Dave.
Lions at Chiefs. KC minus 4.5. Over under 53.
Down to 4.5 now.
Yes, and you know why? Because Travis Kelce has a hyperextended knee. They are downplaying it, and they are lying just like the U.S. government's lying.
They are lying.
I tell you, they're lying. That knee, you don't have a hyperextended swollen knee and try to downplay. If you have them on your fantasy draft, you better get worried right now.
Well, right now he is not. Maybe it will play. Maybe there's a slight chance he actually might play. I agree with you, though. He's not playing at all.
He's not playing. And Chris Jones is not playing.
No, he's holding out.
He's holding out. So
and Nick Bosa got his deal, though. We'll talk about him.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But if two of your three best players are out, how can you not? That's why the spread moved 2 points, and it probably should move more. I still like Detroit minus the 4.5.
Plus the 4.5.
Plus the 4.5. I think that, even though every time we have Magic Mahomes out there, it's at home, it's tough to bet against him. But last year odds against the spread, Kansas City was not very good. They lost their offensive coordinator. I think that there could be a big deal that, they have a little bump in the road. And I think Detroit Lions are for real. They've made all the right moves so far. And I think Detroit is for real.
I'm also going to take the points without injury there to Kelce. I mean, that's huge. The Chiefs will be happy to win by 1 point, although it'd be hard to pick against them to win. It wouldn't be so hard to pick against them to cover.
I like the over.
And I like
that 53.
The over.
And I like Jamar Gibbs having a big game, young college running back from Alabama, looking great out there in preseason. And I think he has a big game. And I think they're making I think Jared Goff has been, one of the solid quarterbacks in the league. And I think that,
I'm going to have to go with Joe on this as far as Kansas City. They probably win by 1 or 2 points, but I think all the pressure is on Detroit. And if Detroit doesn't win this game, wait until Monday, and everybody's going to be talking about it.
It's overreaction Monday.
Yep. Overreaction. So I'm going to have to go with Joe on that. I think the Chiefs will win 1 or 2.
It could happen. I'm taking the points. As far as the over-under, week one trend, first one of the year anyway, Detroit has gone 12 consecutive years going over week one, and Kansas City has gone 8 consecutive years going over week one. Those are the two. Yeah, those are the best. Trends.
So that 53
week one trend, and they're playing each other.
Right. So it's trending that way. But did the spread move because it was 2 points for Kelce being out? Did that affect over under?
It was minus 7. It went down to 6.5. Then the Kelce news came out. Then it went down to 5. Now it's down to 4.5.
I'm talking about the over and under.
The over and under, yeah, that's more Kelce news. That just changed.
That dropped.
It had to.
It had to.
He makes that much of a difference.
Yes.
Well, we're going to continue with week one here. And the next game, let's bring this one up because this is a nice one. Jaguars minus 5 at Colts.
I like the Jaguars personally for the whole
5?
year.
I like that.
I do too.
I think the Jaguars are in disarray. They got a rookie quarterback, Richardson, starting. The running back is on the pub, out for 8 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks. I think you have to take Trevor Lawrence, don't you? Just have to just take it.
Too good to pass up with the Jaguar team that's actually not bad.
No, they're not bad. The only thing that scares me is that the Colts are a home dog, but I still think Jacksonville's still the better team.
And I think the Colts did beat Kansas City early last year. So they did. So, I mean, they at home is a different story in the dome, but I still like Jacksonville.
More week one trends?
Yeah.
Since 2005, underdogs in division games are 62, 38, and 2 against the spread.
Exactly.
And that goes against Jacksonville, of course, and there's 8 of them, by the way, this week. And home underdogs in division games week 1, 24-13, but and there's 4 of those this week. Since 2005, they're actually since 2000, that's since 2005. Since 2012, they're 15-2 against the spread.
Makes
Home
sense.
underdog in a division game week
Love
1.
them. Sucker for them.
But the one bad one is Indianapolis, believe it or not. They're 1-12-1 against the spread on opening day. They're easily the worst team on opening day. So those
That makes me
stats
feel better.
makes you feel.
Yeah, I almost changed my bet, Joe. I mean, I'd be convinced that they were going to do it. And
I'm staying away from that because I see stats going each way on that.
All right, how about this?
I like Trevor Lawrence.
How about this one, guys? 49ers at Steelers. Niners minus 2.5 with the 41 over under.
I'm not convinced on the Steelers. I don't care what these analysts say. I'm not convinced.
You're not convinced with Kenny Pickett,
Nope.
George Pickens, Najee Harris?
I don't
I
know.
mean, San Francisco has one of the better defenses for sure. Nick Bosa just signed them.
Won't play. Can't possibly play tomorrow, can he?
Yes, he is.
He's
No.
going to play on Sunday. He's in shape.
He's going to get hurt.
Well, I think with under-overs, how many games before he pulls a hamstring?
Exactly.
I mean, because he's not in football shape, even though he's probably working out. but he's
Exactly.
not,
There's a difference between football shape and just being in shape. I don't think he belongs out there on the field, personally.
You like them, Cornelius? You like Pittsburgh?
I like the Niners to cover that
Oh,
2.5.
okay. I was just wondering.
I think they're gonna, maybe double digit them.
I think so too.
I think Kenny Pickett might get a few yards, maybe a touchdown. Maybe Najee Harris punches one in, but other than that, I think the Niners just overpower them. 2.5 is great.
They just played so bad in the preseason. The Niners have, and it's not the starters,
No.
but still the second string. I mean,
Right.
Well, funny you should mention that because Pittsburgh, if there was a trophy for best preseason team, they would have got that. They were amazing.
That's another reason not to go for them.
Yeah. So it's just a hunch.
I'm
but
just saying.
I'm liking that home dog. I'm
Right.
going to take the 2.5 points.
Absolutely. Love that.
Take Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh. You like San Francisco.
I like San Francisco.
Yeah.
You're taking Pittsburgh
I'm
plus
going to take
2.5?
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because of the situation, the Bosa situation, and the way Pittsburgh
Purdy.
they look like they're ready.
And Purdy, is coming off an injury, and
We didn't see much of him in the preseason.
and Trey Lance is gone.
Yeah, well, that's
So
that makes
You're
life
right.
better for
You're
San
right,
Francisco.
Big Richard. You're right.
Another nice matchup is Buccaneers at Vikings minus Tom Brady. Minnesota is minus 5.5.
Well,
I think it's moved to 6.
yeah, I
think
saw
Minnesota
6.
and it might be 6.5. So I just think Tampa Bay without Tom Brady is going to be a disaster this year.
Or Chris
Absolutely.
Godwin and Mike Evans.
Yeah, and Mike Evans hasn't even been in camp. He's waiting on a contract, so he hasn't been in camp all year, all preseason.
Yep.
He's still waiting for an extension. He wants some guaranteed money, and he's approaching 30 years of age. And so when will his hamstring pull him if he does play? So I just think Minnesota. I think Kirk Cousins is proven to be a leader, and I think that at home and the slow clap that's going. And I like the Purple Eaters in that game too.
Yeah.
It's 5.5. I like
It
this.
has more to do
Minus
with
6.
Tampa Bay being terrible than Minnesota being incredible.
Well,
And,
I don't think
because Tampa Bay is going to be, like you say, one of the worst teams in the league.
Minnesota's at home too.
Well, whenever you got an Oklahoma quarterback, you're running your team. I mean, he is an Heisman. We'll give him that. So
Yeah, you just got that Heisman thing.
he's got Heisman thing
We're all
on.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay,
It is Baker Mayfield.
Well, speaking
Yeah,
of
that's terrible.
Heisman quarterbacks and from Oklahoma, Cardinals at Commanders minus 7 now.
You're picking these
Wow.
mismatch games.
I know this one's crazy.
Kryler's not playing. They
He's out.
cut Colt McCoy. So it's Dobbs, who was on the practice squad for Cleveland. I think he's going to start, or it's the kid that's from Tulane.
Clayton Tune or whatever.
Yeah, we got to cartoon it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just a lock of the week. I think
Well,
Washington.
you said the LLCK word.
I love it. I love Washington. Well, unless they, can play without a quarterback. I mean, because they don't have one right now.
It also appears just like the game we just talked about, a total mismatch.
Right.
Because Arizona is going to be one of the worst teams.
And I think
they might
Washington's
be even
improved.
worse than Tampa Bay.
I think Bieniemy's the best offensive coordinator in. It probably should, hands down, should be the next head coach. I can't believe he's not a head coach.
No,
right
I
now.
agree with
He actually
you.
moved
I
out of
agree
Kansas
with
City so he could prove that he is the coach, not Andy Reid, of the offense. And
Well, his coaching style has come into question. Maybe
Very
a bit
hard.
of a hard ass, big time.
Yes, and that's what you need. I mean,
How else you going to turn it around?
yeah, I mean, you think Washington, they're favored last of their division again, right? I'm sure.
They're supposed to be last, yes.
Yes, but they have some great receivers. I like their receivers, and see Big Sam Howell, see if we can do it. I mean, they have a new quarterback every year anyway, so I mean, all right, try this guy.
Yeah, he's got some potential.
A good Sunday night matchup we have. Cowboys at Giants. Dallas -3.5, over under 46.5.
Well, that's another funny one. Me being a Dallas fan.
Come on, you got to be unbiased.
Yeah. Well, Dallas has beat them 11 out of 12 times.
11 out of 12. So that would have to go. That's like 4 or 5. How many seasons is that?
That's about
6 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
owning them.
I don't like
Cooper Rush. What even beat them?
I don't like laying 3.5 on the road though in a division game.
I think that goes right to your stat.
Yeah.
Take the home team with the points
Dallas
in the division game.
Dallas could win by a field goal and not cover.
They could.
Mm-hmm. Boy, Dallas loses that first game. The talks will begin already week 1. Dallas cannot do it. Dak Prescott cannot do it.
Giants made the playoffs last year. This is not a crappy team. We're talking about the
I mean, Darren Waller tight end. Daniel Jones just signed. If he has to play the way he's getting paid, he should play really well. I mean, he's getting paid very well, and I think Saquon Barkley is going to prove that he is worth every penny that he should be getting, and I think that will be a great game.
Couple more.
Yeah,
Cornelius.
How about this one? Eagles -4 at Patriots.
Oh, this one I like.
Yeah, I think the Eagles have just improved. I don't see them falling at all. And I think you got Mac Jones and they cut Zappy and they only have one quarterback on the team. I mean,
I'm interested to see if Joe has any stats on this because
I sense we're going to have a lot of disagreement on this show all hour long.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right. Here's a stat that you can't ignore.
Okay.
Super Bowl losers, week one stat. The following season, 4-18 against the spread, week 1. Wow. And here's Philadelphia, favored by 4 on the road. So
to the Patriots.
Let's say New England they lose by 3. They cover the spread. Philadelphia wins. That's another one of those home dogs we were talking about.
Well, I mean, they do have Ezekiel Elliott on the team, right? I mean,
Monday Stevenson. I mean,
I just don't think I really see Philadelphia just improving in every aspect. One thing they've lost is their offense and their defensive coordinator.
Is that all?
Well, I mean,
that to me is a lot.
Okay, that is a lot. That is, I have to agree with you, Joe. But an offensive coordinator has never thrown or caught a touchdown. So I'm telling you that, I mean, it does make a big deal, but I think if Jalen Hurst would have had one more minute, they wouldn't be the losing Super Bowl team. They would have beat Kansas City. If they had a 16-minute quarter, they would have won. He was going right down the field all game long against Kansas City.
I like that -4, Philly -4. I like it.
More disagreement.
Going against it, I like it. I think Philly just comes out and plays.
Some things you can't really explain; they just happen.
But you can't
Super Bowl loser,
you can't explain it,
always has,
and you can't ignore it. I think those are 2 good points.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that's one stat that makes a lot of sense to me.
The big game everybody's excited for: Bills at Jets Monday night.
Oh yeah,
Buffalo -2.5.
Yeah, that's a scary game.
That's a road. It's a road team.
That's another one of those road favorites.
That game
is
scary.
And a division home game.
I mean,
how about Aaron Rodgers? His one is 9 straight Monday Night Football games he's won. Of course, they were all on Green Bay though,
and they've been mostly against the Bears.
The Bears aren't on the field, but neither is Von Miller.
Some games.
So I think if you watched Hard Knocks, which I've just finished, amazing about the Jets. You come off these Hard Knocks last year was Detroit. This year's the Jets. You just feel like you like that team. I saw that, just the great speeches by Robert Saleh. Awesome, just motivator. The defense is off the chart. The defensive line is amazing.
That sounds like a lot of talk to me. I mean, yes, Hard Knocks is an amazing show.
Hard Knocks, okay, but just the way Aaron Rodgers precise. I mean,
their heads just grew to like 10 sizes.
Yeah, as soon as they got Aaron, it was the Aaron Rodgers thing. Yeah. It was just and
that one defensive player saying, "Oh, we could be the '85 Bears and stuff."
Yeah, well,
the teams that talk like that usually don't come through. Just say,
is Von Miller still out?
Von Miller is out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that makes a huge difference.
It's a fun game to watch. I don't know if I'm going to put in the action.
I would probably stay away from
I'm going to
just
think
for
about
fun.
that one.
Yeah, I mean, make it be a fun game. Just make it be a fun game. Don't sweat the money.
Could be a defensive game.
Mhm.
And last one I'm taking, Bears -1 over the Packers at home. Yes, the Bears are going to win that game.
Yeah. I love it. I love Chicago.
They're at home, and they don't even get the normal 3 at home.
No,
They get
because they have
-1.
to prove that they could beat them.
They will
I'm
beat them
not
this
touching
year.
that game, but
Division game. Division game.
They should.
Chicago's at home.
crazy.
I think we have a Justin Fields field day. I have no love for the quarterback in Green Bay. I'm thinking that was a huge mistake losing Aaron Rodgers. And I've never seen, Love has really never played very well. Last year against the Niners when he played horrible. Now you put him in Chicago on the road.
But where did Rodgers actually take him last year? Didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, but it's got to be a psychological advantage for the Bears not to have Rodgers in this game. Just that alone's got to.
I think their defense is going to be good. Green Bay's defense is going to be good, and they're going to run the ball, and that's what they're going to do.
They're going to run a ball.
They're going to run the ball. So if you have Aaron Jones on your fantasy team, great pick.
Yeah.
There's one pick I want to add.
Yeah, which one?
Seattle -5 at home against the Rams. This goes against my theory. Wait, actually, it's a division favorite, whatever. But they're 10-1 straight up in home openers. Their last 11, Seattle. They're awesome at home. No Cooper Kupp for the Rams. And Seattle's going to be one of the better teams, I think, in the NFC. The Rams are going to be one of the terrible teams.
Okay.
And it's only 5 points.
So I think it's this. Last year, Seattle went there and smashed the Broncos on opening day.
Right.
And no one gave Seattle a chance.
Nope.
It's very,
Geno
very
Smith, they're
similar,
terrible.
very, very similar. Now the Rams, no one gives a chance.
No.
I mean, they do have Super Bowl pedigree on that team still. They have gone down. You still got Aaron Donald. You still got you got your great coach. And you have I think Cam Akers is a great running back. I think they keep it close. I think you take those 5. I think you take the 5. You go back with what you say. You take the 5 on the
Seattle money line and take the 5.
I love the Rams in the 5.
The home dog.
As long as Stafford's healthy,
they're a home dog, and
because Stetson has even injured their backup. I don't even know.
Lose by 3.
Obviously, we had a lot of disagreement on week 1.
That's perfect.
But I would say
you are going to. Nobody knows.
Everybody had Denver going to the playoffs. Everybody had the Giants not going to the playoffs. That's how the NFL is, and it's going to be changes this year. And I look at my picks that we're going to do later on, and I'm like, I'm a homer. I picked all I didn't give any underdogs really a chance. So
I would suggest people just go with your first instinct.
Yes.
Week 1, actually every week, just go with your first instinct. Then look at the trends, and if don't go against your first instinct, I guess would be my rule.
Yeah, you're right.
But if the trends can convince you to go the other side, just don't bet the game.
Well, let's move on. We got some stuff to cover. We're going to pick who's going to win their division.
Okay,
let's start with the AFC East: Bills, Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots.
Well, I'm not done with Buffalo yet, although some people are saying that they are going to slow down a little bit. You still got Josh Allen, and you got Diggs. And when Von Miller comes back, that'll be a pretty awesome defense. I got to pick Buffalo to win that division one more time.
I'm going to switch my pick and go with Miami. I like the coach. I like the coach there. I like what he's doing. He brought Mozart and Wilson, his running backs, to the scheme, how he runs his offense. You have the cheetah, Tua. The only thing I'm worried about him staying healthy and staying off his back. They really didn't address the offensive line, but the defense is great. So I think that I like Miami. I think all three of those teams make the playoffs. And
are we also picking wild card teams right now, or just division winners?
Division winners.
I'll save my Miami chat.
Okay.
Okay. AFC North: Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Bengals.
Well, I'm not done with Cincinnati yet either. Joe Burrow. I mean, if they would have just been quiet and not called Arrowhead Burrowhead, they were the best team in football last year. I thought they just talked their way out of that game in Kansas City. And I still think they're the best team in football. So if they're healthy, so I'm definitely going with Cincinnati.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Joe, until they prove they can. I mean, they have the best running back, wide receiver in that division, the quarterback. I mean, come on. Even defense. I don't think their defense.
I'm going with Cincinnati with you guys also. I think they're Joe Burrow. I mean, I think they have a great chance to go deep in the playoffs.
All right. Unanimous Cincinnati. AFC South, Jaguars, Titans, Texans, and Colts.
Well, this should all be unanimous also.
I'm going with Jacksonville.
How can you not?
Because you're Joe the Answer Ellison,
Yeah.
and you're going to take Tennessee. And I'll tell you why. They were 7-3 last year, and Tannehill got hurt. They did go 0-7 without Tannehill. They were looking like they were going to win that division easy. They lost their last 7 games. Even if they beat Jacksonville that last game, they would have won the division. I have to eliminate a couple of these teams, and I'm going to tell you what. Since we had 1990, 12 playoff teams, 20 now, 2020, we have 14 playoff teams. There's at least 4 teams that made the playoffs the year before that don't make the playoffs the next year. At least 4. And last year there were 8 different teams. So you got to throw out a couple of these teams that look like they're going to make it.
But that's what I like about is the parity in this league.
I think Jacksonville might be one of the worst teams out of these teams that I'm talking about, like Buffalo and Cincinnati and Kansas City, which I'm going to get. So
you're not on the Trevor Lawrence Kool-Aid, huh?
I'm not. I mean, I like them, but I like teams with a really strong running game, and I'm a big Derrick Henry fan. And
the coach,
but Tennessee cannot get over that hump. They're a mediocre team, and every year they're right there. They only have to win a couple of games. They're in the playoffs, and they just do not do it.
If Tannehill's healthy, I think they can.
They're the Phoenix Suns and Philadelphia 76ers of the NFL.
Everyone's picking Jacksonville, so I have to disagree with one of these division winners because, Kansas City is going to be the other pick, right? Everyone's going to pick them. They won it.
Let's go to the AFC West.
Let's talk about that.
Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos.
I don't think it's going to be.
I like the Chargers.
I like the LA Superchargers. I'm with them too. I think it's Herbert's year. Got all the way to almost the championship game. He got beat up by Trevor Lawrence in a great game. So I like Herbert. I like what they're doing in LA. They got a great offensive coordinator.
Well,
Dallas Cowboys.
They have been improving the last couple of years. That's what kept the coach from getting fired, blowing that playoff game.
Big Rich, there's going to be more deep balls for the Chargers. Yeah. Go get it, Mike Williams.
They got Allen, and they got the kid from TCU. They picked him up. He had a great preseason.
And they also got Joshua Palmer there.
Can they stay healthy? I mean, all those guys you basically
that's their problem.
Are going to get injured at one point over the course of the season.
Hey, well, they got a good team though. All right.
And do you want to do wild cards AFC right now and just get that over with?
No, we'll just wait.
Okay.
All right. NFC East: Commanders, Giants, Cowboys, Eagles.
Well, as the East always goes, and another one of those things you can't really explain for the last 20 years in a row, or even more than that, the division winner does not repeat. It's been a long, long time. And it won't happen again. And I have to pick Dallas to win the division. It's either between Dallas or the New York Giants, who look to be improving also. And I think Dallas looks like the better team. So.
I have to disagree. I'm going with Philly.
I'm going with Philly.
I think Philly. We got two Philly. How can you not go against they won the division, won the conference, went to the Super Bowl. They haven't lost anybody. In fact, they've gained.
They're great draft. They have two great defensive players.
Jalen Hurts proved himself. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they can go vertical. They can go anywhere.
And they got Swift.
DeAndre Swift
in the backfield. So
they lost both their coordinators and no repeat division champion. 20. You can't explain it. It just happens.
All right. NFC North. Packers, Lions, Bears, and Vikings.
I like the Vikings. They're going to do it this year.
I have to go with the crowd who's jumping all over the Detroit bandwagon. That 8-2 finish that they had last year was very impressive. Minnesota, they were a funny team.
They are.
They were 13-4 last year, but they were actually outscored.
Right. They were only winning by one.
I think Dalvin Cook.
A lot of those close games
being gone is a huge hit for them. I don't know.
And their defense wasn't that great either. I mean, they would lose games by like 30, 40 points sometimes.
Right.
And I think that's going to catch up with
I
them.
think the Lions or the
I
Bears.
think they're going to get better.
I think the Lions or the
I got to go
Bears.
Detroit.
Gentlemen, I like the Bears.
Of course
you do. Like
But
that's
I'll tell you why I like the Bears. I'll tell you why I like the Bears. Because the Packers without Aaron Rodgers are a different team. Jordan Love, I don't see him having the great year. Minnesota just finds ways to lose games, just like Detroit finds ways to lose games. Talent. None of them really have a good defense. I think the Bears have a better defense, but it all goes on Justin Fields' shoulders. The team goes as far as Justin Fields goes, and he needs to start passing the ball more.
Agree with you 100%.
You've got DJ Moore.
Yeah, that was an improvement.
If they do all that, yes, because you know Aaron Rodgers. That's the only thing you need to know. The Bears have a chance now.
Yes,
I think
you're
the
right.
Lions, they get the Lions or Bears because this is going to be one of your teams that are different teams going to make
Right.
the playoffs.
That's
So I
where
think
I'm
this is
going
where
with. That's why I'm going with
Without a
Vikings,
doubt.
just for that reason.
Next one, NFC South. Saints, Buccaneers, Falcons, and
This is
Panthers.
the hardest one for me.
I think it's the easiest. I was going to say it's the
Really?
easiest because this is another team that's going to be. It's going to be the Saints.
That's
No,
why
I like the Saints.
That's
Like
who
the
I
Saints, I
like.
think Derek
That's
Carr
what
goes out
scares
there.
me.
Derek Carr comes back and he just proves that, hey, the Raiders
Great
messed
defense.
up.
Great
But
defense.
that scares me because I'm the same way. I'm the Saints too, but it seems too easy.
You got Chris Olave, you got Michael Thomas
We
back.
know it's not going to be Tampa Bay, so I mean, I think that they're going to be the
Look at those stats.
Well,
Carolina.
Joe, of course, has to disagree with you guys and take Atlanta. New Orleans, and I'm big on coaching, and Dennis Allen
Sorry.
is a horrible head coach. And I like Arthur Smith, the way they're going to improve
You're all
their
about
team.
Desmond Ritter.
And you got, well, it's not so much Desmond Ritter. They run the ball more than any other team in the entire league. And they just got Bijan Robinson.
Yes.
They got Cordell Patterson. They're going to run the ball. It's not going to be on Ritter. That's going to be
Pitts
more like,
could have
play action kind of stuff.
Well, Pitts didn't score last year. He only had like one or
Well,
two touchdowns.
Pitts has got to improve.
He's got him, but he did make a lot of catches, but he's didn't score. So I think that could change this year too.
Yeah.
All right.
So I got Atlanta.
Here we go. NFC West. Cardinals, Seahawks, 49ers, and the Rams.
Well, I'm going to go against the crowd here on this one too.
You're
I
not
got a
taking the
feeling.
Niners, huh?
Of course not. I'm going to take Seattle. I'm tired of this San Francisco stuff.
So
So
great defense.
yeah, well, Seattle looks like they can play pretty well too. Did make the playoffs last year. They improved. Got the wide receiver from Ohio State. His
Yeah.
name, but
That should be
and a running back.
Yeah.
And so I really like their offense. And this Bosa thing, I think there's drama going on in San Francisco. The Lance thing. I just like the way Seattle. is
Save
going
the
into
drama
season.
for your mama because San Francisco is going to win the West, going away as long as Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy. And that's a big if.
Well, it's a real big.
Because he was healthy last year, but I mean, you saw the record with Christian McCaffrey and without Christian Mack. So if you got him on your fantasy team, you better be a little worried.
Hopefully,
For
a
health
good
reasons.
backup.
All right.
So we're all saying Arizona's not going to win it, right? We can be in agreement.
In the Rams. No Rams.
and the Rams.
Yeah.
So
Rams
Super
might
Bowl
be the
winners,
team.
everybody.
Oh, no wild cards action. Just
No.
quickly, just
Oh,
say
no wild card. We're going to move on. We're going to just do wild card
you guys,
later.
I have so much to disagree with you guys. So much more.
Super Bowl. Big Rich started off.
I got Philly and Cincinnati, with Cincinnati winning their first Super Bowl. Joe
That would
Burrow.
be
So
great.
I think that
I like that.
I like Philly coming out, and I actually think Detroit will make it to the championship game. They're going to go pretty deep, but I think Philly is overpowering, and I'm just taking Cincinnati because it's a homer pick, and I'd like to see Joe Burrow get a Super Bowl ring. But Philly's tough, man. Philly's tough all the way around.
Yeah. Good one, Joe.
Okay, well, a couple little stats. Since I love stats, since 2001, at least one of the two Super Bowl teams has missed the playoffs 64% of the time. Not just come back to the Super Bowl, completely missed the playoffs. So 1 year, yeah, they both make it. The next 2 years, one of them or both won't make it. So I'm throwing out Philadelphia for sure. Cincinnati, I have winning it over Dallas. And I
Ooh.
love Cincinnati. And
Wow, we're both on the big
I'm
Joe.
on Joe
Okay.
Burrow.
Well, I can tell you this, Joe, and your pick about Philly not making the playoffs, unless there's a nuclear bomb that goes off in the city of brotherly love, they're going to be in the playoffs. They have not went down in any position. They've improved. I think.
Coordinators.
Well, they lost their coordinators,
Yeah.
but I mean, like you said,
Hargraves is gone.
Okay, well,
They did lose
Philly-
the defensive line.
Okay, well, they are definitely one of the best offensive lines. Anyway, that's my thing on that. I think unless there's a nuclear bomb, there's no way.
You don't want to pick Kansas City, though. No,
I think Kansas City might be the team who won't. I think Kansas City might.
Well, maybe that might be it.
That might be the. I mean, maybe.
And there's been no.
Patrick Mahomes could have an injury, and then what do you have?
So that's
the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly. You're on the clock.
No repeat Super Bowl champion since New England. Way back, what, 01, 02, whatever it was. I mean,
Patrick Mahomes has a couple trophies in his case there. I think he might have a third one too, but I think Kansas City will not make it.
And Gator, what do you got?
Okay, well, on the AFC side, there's 3 teams that I like.
No, you got to pick.
Well, okay, I understand, but the 3 teams that are going to fight for it is going to be the Chargers, the Bills, and Cincinnati. Out of that, I like Josh Allen.
Okay.
On the NFC side, I see 2 teams. I see Dallas and the 49ers. In my heart, I want Seattle to go, but I don't see that happening. So I'm going to take Dallas.
Nice. Good.
One last step I have to share. No NFC team that has lost the Super Bowl has returned to the Super Bowl the following year since 1974, the Minnesota Vikings. It just doesn't happen.
Oh, wow.
And here we go. I got Chargers beating Cincinnati in the AFC Championship and the Niners beating Philly in the NFC Championship.
I can see that.
Niners and Chargers Super Bowl.
Chargers. Wow.
I
don't even have any in my playoffs.
Okay.
Yep.
That's interesting.
California Super Bowl. All right. We're switching over to college football now. And we got some games we're going to pick here.
Oh, I wanted to thank Butch the Butcher, by the way, for all those stats. You did an amazing job for me. A lot of those statistics.
Thank you, Butch.
All right, we got, how about this Georgia rolling 42 on Ball State?
42 is a lot. Jeez, that's crazy. But yeah, I could see it happening.
I don't know what to say about Ball State. I didn't really look at that game. That was quite a large spread. I only looked at a couple games that I really thought I could win at. Plus, my picks weren't the best last week anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, do we even know the quarterback of Georgia is? Do we even know? I mean, we have to look and see, the Stetson Bennett was just amazing last year. And so I think that could be a big problem. I think the SEC, according to the first week, Pac-12 13-0.
That's amazing.
Yeah. The SEC getting beat by LSU going down to Florida State.
Yes.
Just
wow. That was big.
And then
that was a horror story.
Well,
he had the under.
I'm giving Ball State a little bit of credit and going plus 42.
Oh my God!
Well, the defense is any good? I think that
you're going to regret that one.
You sit there and watch that ticker tape just keep going up and up. Right. But anyway,
how about this Notre Dame, NC State, Notre Dame minus 7.5? They have just been looking awesome.
Notre Dame.
I'll take that minus 7.5
on the road.
On the road. I don't care.
At NC State.
Yeah.
They look great last week. I agree.
They've looked great the last 2 weeks.
NC State
that quarterback really looks good.
That great. They only won by 10 against Connecticut, I believe it was. Although it was on the road. Yeah, I lean towards Notre Dame.
Nebraska is going to go visit Dion in Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado minus 3.
Well, when you look at last week, Colorado 45-42 over TCU, a team that went to the national championship game
and throttled Michigan. Throttled Michigan to get there.
It was incredible. I thought I was very impressed. Nebraska, what did they do? They lost at Minnesota 13-10.
Right.
You got one team that can score and one team that can't. I think is what it looks like.
Well, Nebraska had 4 turnovers. Sims is the quarterback. Jeff Sims is the quarterback.
Yeah.
He had 114 yards, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, and they fumbled the ball once. And unless Minnesota has a outstanding defense, why that happened, I think that there's no way they're going to be able to control Colorado Buffalo.
Leading rusher for the Cornhuskers is Sims, the quarterback, with 19 carries for 93 yards.
He leads in passing, rushing, and interceptions. I just like Colorado looks great. If you would have bet Colorado, if you can do your future bets, they were -7. They were +7,
right?
And now they're after the week 1, it's changed 10 points. Now it actually was 10.5 points.
I saw the spread open to 3.5, and I can't figure out what the heck was going on, and it went down to 3. Well, now I really don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know, but the books are trying to trick you here or something.
One thing about Travis Hunter, they're 2-time. He plays both field, played over 100 snaps. He had 11 receptions, 119 yards, an interception. They only threw at his side twice, so. if the guy throws a lot of interceptions, I guarantee you Hunter's going to be the loneliest guy in the world on that other side of the field because they're not even going to throw it on that whatever side he's on.
Right.
So Dylan Edwards had 4 touchdowns. I mean, amazing. It's just amazing how great he is coaching that team. They're not making any penalties. They only had 6 penalties. You think starting a whole new starting line? They had 19 players that were starting are no longer on the team. So
that's amazing.
To bring in that kind of transfer portal and then get everybody on the same page. And a lot of those guys left because he was a hard coach, just like we're talking about Miami. He's a hard coach and doesn't put up with their crap. And you're going to do it my way. And they just, they chose to be undisciplined. And these teams all bought in. They all seem like they love each other. Looks great. It's great for college football.
I'm with you, Jim.
3.5. He's going to have way over 3.5 wins. We should have jumped all over that.
Absolutely. SMU visits number 18 Oklahoma. Oklahoma minus 15.5. Oklahoma just destroyed.
Yeah, it was
whoever it was.
73-0. That was Arkansas State.
Oh wow!
All right.
Oh, they got SMU.
That is a Division I school though. Arkansas State.
It is
right,
68.5 over under. Can SMU really score? Because if they can.
Well, SMU looked decent last week. I didn't know we were going to cover this game. I think they won like 41-24. They look decent.
They can score, but they're going to be soaking Oklahoma. So they're So I think that 16 is a lock. I mean, I love
LCK
again. I love Oklahoma.
I like
giving up that.
That's why I brought it up. I like it. 15.5. Another pretty good center. Another one. Texas at Alabama. Alabama minus 7. Man, I like Texas plus 7.
You think it's a trap? They're going to be in Alabama.
Okay. Alabama has 2 key injuries. They have 2 defensive backs that got injured in week 1, Jalen Key and Macaulay Moore.
That's right.
And they both are senior starters. So, I mean, that's big to watch that. Quentin Ewers, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, they kind of cut it off slow, but then they kind of put it together.
Started very slow.
Right. And they got 3 big backs. They got the Killer Bees. They got Baylor, Brooks, and Blue. And Baxter has an injured ribs, so he won't be playing. So something to look at that. But I think Alabama at home. Last year they played good, and I think that
you'll cover that 7, huh?
You're playing in Alabama. I don't know, man. I like this. Jalen Milroy is, like you said, he leads the team in rushing and passing for Alabama, and I think just watch this kid. He had 3 touchdowns and had 2 rushing touchdowns. So they had 5 touchdowns in week 1. And they're playing Middle Tennessee State, or something like that.
Well, it's a team that had won bowl games the last 2 years, and they just hammered them.
Well, Rice only won 3 games last year, and so they struggled at the beginning. So I think I lean towards Alabama.
It's hard to put money against Alabama.
I can't bet against Alabama. You're right about that.
Okay, so there's some stuff.
I need a lot more points.
The one thing, if you watch college football, we have to talk about the excellent quarterback play in week 1. Michael Penix junior from Washington, 450 yards, 5 touchdowns. At USC, Caleb Williams has 9 touchdowns. He hasn't played anybody yet, but he's definitely.
Well, he played Nevada.
And DJ, exactly, hasn't played anybody yet. So DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson.
Oregon State
had 3 touchdowns and 338. And Oregon, Bo Nix, they had a great game.
So I think they scored 81.
Right, yeah. So they're 6.5. I love Oregon dropping the 6.5 for Texas Tech.
Oh, I love that too. Yeah, I was going to talk about that game, but we already did, so we're good. Last one, Stanford at USC. USC minus 29. Last game of the night. They have not covered yet their spreads.
Well, I mean,
they didn't do it last week.
No, that could be another 56-28 game, maybe.
They did cover. I thought they did. They did cover Nevada.
Oh, they covered Nevada.
They covered Nevada, but they did not cover week 1.
Yeah,
against San Jose State.
That one didn't,
because their defense is, like you said. But Caleb Williams looks like a video game out there juking. I mean, there are Nevada defensive players, but he looked like if he had flags on, they couldn't have touched him. I mean, he was just by himself. He looks amazing.
And he might not want to go to Arizona Cardinals next year. They're saying he might just sit in college for one more year, get his NIL money.
And he said he's making $3 million a year in NIL money. So doing State Farm commercials or
whatever.
Dr. Pepper.
I do want to mention Baylor and Arizona State's quarterbacks are out this week, and Virginia's quarterback is questionable. In fact, Baylor lost to Texas State last week, which was pretty shocking.
Yes.
So Baylor's looking pretty shaky.
All right, and to wrap up college football, guys, who wins it all? Or you can give me your final four, and then who wins it all if you have them.
I don't. You guys go first.
Michigan for me.
Well, I'll say Ohio State. I know it's not a favorite, but with this playoff system, I think there's going to be a few of those teams that you don't think about that will be there.
One of those Gator. So Washington makes it to the Final Four.
Right. That's my point.
My big surprise.
Great pick.
Something like that. Yes.
Either Ohio State or Michigan's going to make it, and probably not both
Right.
because they play in the Big Two.
I'm going to call this one Notre Dame gets it to the
Good one. That's a good
I
one.
love that quarterback. They're playing great defense.
Good pick, Rick.
Rob, I like that one for Final Four. I've got Washington, Notre Dame, Michigan. Who is my fourth one then?
It's Alabama. That's who I'm taking to win it all. Of course it is. It's Alabama. Alabama. I love Alabama. I like this new kid, running back, quarterback, does it all. Let's see if he can, I mean, Nick Saban ain't going to be out of it again. Come on now. He doesn't have to play Georgia until the championship game. So if he can run the table, in which he has pretty weak.
My fourth one is going to be Georgia.
I picked Notre Dame last week before I saw Alabama play and Michigan play. I guess I can stick Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan. I have to pick Oklahoma because that's my favorite team.
Of course you were.
Arkansas State. How could you not take them?
I mean, looking at the schedule, I mean, they could go undefeated. The only team they really have in there is Texas, and pretty much.
I think Texas A&M.
They could.
I think they might be a challenge for them.
But that's not the same conference, and
they have a good.
They're
like this week, they have a game against Miami. I like the Texas A&M.
They're having a hard time picking any Pac-12 teams. They haven't had a team in the Final Four in like 8 years. Something's going to happen. They're going to beat each other up, and they'll get no respect like they never do.
Always do.
They're undefeated now, but once they start losing, then everything's going to change.
Big Rich, by the way, that A&M game that you like, -4 over Miami.
Yeah, they're in Miami, but
Texas A&M comes out and they go guns blazing and take care of business. Does Colorado make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Playoffs? No, not the Final Four.
Not the Final Four, but do they get into the
do they get a bowl? Do they get a bowl game? You say a bowl game? Do you say
a bowl game?
6 wins?
Can they make the conference championship game with
I don't know, Utah and Washington?
Can they make the playoffs?
Utah, Washington, Oregon, USC?
I don't think. I think it's you can pick any of those four. Any of those four can make it. I think.
Yeah.
I think USC has defensive problems, and I think Colorado has defensive problems. So.
Yeah, they do. So yes, that was an even Max Duggan quarterback, TCU.
All right. The kid played great,
and they scored 42
and he
points.
played good. He played good. So
there are defensive issues there.
Okay, we're gonna move on now. Want to recap some NASCAR, Gator?
Okay.
And we got any races coming up?
Okay. Well, last week was the first race of the playoffs in Darlington, and the favorite, which Carl Larson was at the start of the race, but he wasn't at the
6-1 opening.
Yeah,
he was not the favorite. Truex was.
Anyways, that's part of my whole story, so I'll go through that later. But their next race is going to be at Kansas, and Toyotas are the favorites there, Joe. But I'm going to go with the long shot on the Fords. Fords are 4-1, and I like Chris Buescher. Okay. It seems like nobody wants. No, he's just not getting any.
What about Joey Logano? He always races good at Kansas.
That's why I like the Fords. The Fords are 4-1. And you got Buescher, you got Logano, and you got Blaney. So I'm going with the long shot there.
4-1.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Denny Hamlin.
Okay,
he was one of the first two.
Now that was my whole story.
So I know, but he did win the first two, and then he had a lug nut problem, right? I'm telling you right now. So
that was my whole story.
But okay, well, I'll go into this. The other Toyota driver, Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
How come he keeps hitting the wall? I mean, he's winning these races, and he's leading the races that he hits the wall with.
No, I want to. Do we have time for this? Because I want to exaggerate. Sure, yeah. Okay. In the old days, the NASCAR, they wouldn't go up high on the wall until late in the race. They would go start down low and then they go up higher. This is just at Darlington.
Right.
Nowadays, those guys are staying up at the top of that wall constantly. And there's more, every lap, there's more of a chance of hitting that wall coming up a turn.
Just knock them out.
4. Yes. Am I right, Joe? You see those wrecks on turn 4 with Harvick and I'm trying to think of the old guys. Yeah.
The old guys, the really old guys, Earnhardt, Wallace.
Yeah, they all hit those
uh,
walls because they got the
Gordon.
Darlington stripe. Remember, you
Yeah.
always earned that Darlington stripe. And they always stayed away from the walls.
Right.
But now,
See-
when we're 2023, it seems like the whole race is up at the top.
Well, I mean, I can
They've
think
repaid
of at least
their
3 or 4
debts.
times that Christopher Bell's hit the wall with nobody
No, you're
even around him.
I know where you're going with
So,
that. Yes. But now we're at Kansas, and this is 4 wide, and I love this racing just for the 4 wide. It's excellent.
be
And,
fun.
I think
I think you got to
to
take Danny Hamlin. I think he had a fast car last week, should have won it, and I think that he won it there in previous this year.
Denny Hamlin plus 500, 5-1.
Well, the Toyotas are the ones that are the favorites, and I'm going against
Kyle Larson is tied with him, 5-1.
Busher, you can get better odds on him.
What about
15 to
Oh,
1?
but I also want to tell Joe,
8-1, Reddick.
we were trying to figure this out last night, but they're going to cut down to 12, Joe,
Right. After 3 races.
And so you got Kansas this week, and you have Bristol next week, and then they'll cut down to 12, and then they'll cut down
Right.
to 8, and then they'll cut down to 4.
Right. 3 more races, cut down to 8.
Yeah,
Cut down
correct.
to 4, and then it'll just be 1 race to decide the champion.
Correct.
Kyle
Exactly.
Busch 14-1, Harvick 20-1, Logano 22-1.
Those are
So you get really good prices
Reasonable
on those
picks.
Last,
cars.
last week I
What
had
about Blaney? What do you got of Blaney? He's another Ford I like.
Yeah.
Blaney 20-1.
okay. Well,
So you're getting good value there.
Yeah.
He's in it, you know.
I'm going against the grain, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as you stay out of the wall like Christopher Bell, you'll be all right.
All right, what about we got some MLB news, Joe?
Well, I think we should. I think anybody can just look in the standings and figure out what they are. Do you want to go through that?
What about hot and cold?
Wait, let's just do hot and cold. Anybody can look up the standings. What do you
Well,
say about Gator?
the hottest team I like, and or I see, and I'm sure Dan's going to like this. The Chicago Cubs are 8-3 in their last 11.
And they
just
won
on
today,
fire.
too.
And they won today 8-2.
Coming up to Milwaukee.
Now, I have 5 teams that are 7-3. We have Baltimore, Toronto, and the Yankees, all in the East.
Baltimore's up 5-2 right now.
And Houston and Atlanta are both 7-3 as well.
Atlanta's just going to continue to be hot.
And Houston just got done tearing up the Texas Rangers, and if them two play in the playoffs, Houston's going to win.
There's some danger in the Rangers. I'm telling you right now. But I see you talked about Julio Urias out for the Dodgers, domestic felony,
That's
domestic violence. He's out for the year for sure. That's
It's
the
not
second
the
one.
first time.
It's not the first time, man. So he's definitely got to get in anger management and
Well, he hasn't been pitching that well as of late. The last couple
stop
of weeks.
taking it out on your wife. All right, all right. So
I didn't say it was an excuse. It was
it's not
just,
an excuse.
no.
But and anyway, but they do got Bueller coming out. He pitched a minor league 2 innings, perfect, and Galvin Stone's pitched really good for him too. So I think they have some pitchers coming up.
Well, they'll need him because
Yeah.
they didn't address the pitching side of their team. They have lots of bats.
Well, they thought Lance Lynn was going to be the new
Yeah.
savior, and he gave up 9 runs today to Miami. So
cold.
yeah, they're-
Cold.
Yeah.
Cold. Who's
All right. Well, I have 2 teams that are 0-6.
Oh,
San Francisco
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
and Washington.
Well, Washington makes sense. The Giants.
Yeah, and there were 1 game out of the playoffs. Now, probably not now, but
Well, yeah, I think they're below 500 even. So.
it just got
Oh, my
crazy.
God.
And I have 2 other teams that are 0-5. I have the White Sox and the Angels, which is
Well, certainly makes
surprise.
sense.
Yeah, no.
They-
And Tony,
They've
is he
had
out
it.
for the year now, or is he has another tear in his ligament in his arm? But I think he's still hitting though.
Yeah,
I think he's still hitting.
and he still has a chance to lead the league in home runs. So that's something to shoot
44,
for.
2 behind Olsen.
Olsen, yes.
But what a big seller mistake on the Angels. They could have raked for Ohtani, and now you got a bum pitching an arm.
We were screaming, trade Ohtani.
I
But
know.
they weren't listening to us. That's the Angels for you.
I wish he would have went to Seattle. I think that would have been an excellent fit.
Well, I should probably throw some news and notes from around the league from Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon, who was a great correspondent. Ronald Acuna Jr., the first ever with 30 home runs and 60 stolen bases in the same
Amazing.
season.
That's amazing.
32 and 63 he's at right now. Atlanta has a team, 263 home runs. They're trying to catch Minnesota, who got 307 in 2019.
Okay.
They got a shot.
Yeah.
Houston's Jose Altuve, first player since expansion. That was 1961 to hit a home run in 4 consecutive at bats. That's hard to do.
I'm gonna throw him a couple in the dirt pitch. Come on now, stop laying it up for him.
Amazing little player. You can't be more than like 5, 6, or 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
The fastest in MLB history to reach 2,000 hits, 200 home runs, and 200 steals in a career. So pretty amazing. Miguel Cabrera, Detroit. He passed George Brett. He's 17th in history in hits, 3,159. And maybe this is a guy you might want to bet on right now. A hot player to watch right now is maybe you've already made some money on him. Kansas City starting pitcher Cole Reagans. He has a current 21-inning scoreless streak.
No, he's wild too. He's got a wild pitch.
And you wouldn't think Kansas City would have anybody worth betting on. So that's a sneaky little pick.
Okay.
And thanks again to Rockin.
Great.
That was a great
21 straight innings. I'm going to be all over that.
All right. What anything we got left?
No, I would say since we're watching the U.S. Open as we're doing the show, we got the semifinals as we predicted. Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz are still alive. Does Djokovic
competition?
Yeah. And the other
it's been great. The Open's been great, Joe. I've been loving watching. The U.S. has done really good. I know that they only have one player now left, but they did really good.
2 women, one man, but 1 man.
Man.
Of course. But
he's in the men's bathroom right now.
Yeah. Djokovic, do you see him losing to Ben Shelton, the American?
No.
Probably not. Alcaraz, well, assuming he wins this match that he's playing right now, which he's up 2 sets.
He will.
Okay. Then he would play Daniil Medvedev in a semi-Friday. Do you think he's going to lose that match?
I love Medvedev, but no. But I am going to be rooting for him.
Well, all the other players, not all the other players, but a number of other players are complaining Djokovic and Alcaraz are getting all the attention.
Well, they should. They deserve it.
And so
that's what everybody wants.
You beat them, you get the attention, right?
That's what everybody wants, too.
Tell those other people to start winning a tournament against them.
There you go. No doubt, you guys.
Well, pre-tournament, I predicted Djokovic over Alcaraz. I'm going to stick with that, of course. I'm going to
stick with Carlos.
Okay. An upset. The women, totally wide open.
Oh, beautiful. I love watching the women. I do. I say it all the time, but I do.
Coco Gauff against Carolina Mukova. Arena Sabalenka against Madison Keys. That's Gauff and Keys are the Americans.
Right. Biggest thing is that Iga's not going to be world's number 1 after this.
Yeah, well,
she's having a hard time on hard courts, Joe.
Yeah. Well, she's not here anymore.
But that means Sabalenka is going to be the world's number 1, no matter what happens with this, Joe. No matter what happens here.
Yeah, that's right. So I got Sabalenka actually winning it and solidifying her number 1.
She could.
I got Sabalenka over Gauff. That's going to be an upset. Gauff is the favorite now.
She's just not
being American.
She's just not consistent, Joe. She's awesome. I love her, but she's not consistent.
Okay. And we have to the dismay of some people who might even be on our show, mention the Rugby World Cup.
Yay!
Begins Gator
Friday.
And
France playing the All Blacks.
Yes. France and New Zealand. And it's in France. And I just love rugby. You want to just make some pool predictions real quick?
Yeah.
Just pick a winner.
In Pool A, New Zealand and France are going to be the 2 that are fighting out for it, and I do believe that the All Blacks will come out.
Okay, that's New Zealand.
In Pool B, it's going to be South Africa and Ireland. Ireland's the number 1 team right now. I still think that I'm going to go with the upset with the South Africa.
Okay.
Pool C is the Wales and Fiji and Australia. It's really tight, Joe. I think it's going to be Fiji and Wales, and they do play each other first. And Fiji just got done playing England, and England's not playing so well. So I'm going to go with Fiji.
That'll be an upset.
Yep. And then the last one is England and Argentina, Japan. I like Argentina again. England is not doing that great.
No,
their captain is having problems. I don't. How can you put money again on England? I just don't see it. So I'm going to go with Argentina.
We're going to disagree again. I'm going to go France, Ireland, Australia, and England. I don't know how England's going to pull it out, but they're somehow going to do it. And your champion, you got a World Cup winner?
All Blacks.
New Zealand. I'm going to pick France, the host.
It's going to come down to that.
Okay.
Whoever wins that pool, I think you're right,
Well,
Joe.
Everybody who gets a chance to watch it, it's amazing. It's awesome to watch.
It's a World Cup.
It's
World
a World
Cup
Cup.
of anything. It's like the word playoffs.
No padding, no helmets, physical, and you have to tackle people and play offense at the same time. So
I like it.
And there's no pass interference,
no,
and there's no roughing the passer. So it's always good to watch those.
it's awesome. So maybe we should do some "You Got Hosed" action, huh?
You got hosed.
You want to?
Gator, you got. Oh, you said you kind of previewed your "You Got Hosed" a little earlier.
Well, here's the thing, and you can help me out here, Big Richard.
The
But
things
Danny,
that went terribly wrong.
go ahead.
When you're winning,
You're winning a bet.
When you're winning a bet, he's got 177 laps. He's leading of it.
That's correct. I was just going to say that. The 177 laps, he won 2 stages, the first 2 stages. But on the last stage, he had to pit twice consecutively for the same problem. But then he said that he came on the radio and said it was a loose wheel. What'd you say it was? It was a lug
It could be a lug nut.
something like that.
It's a loose wheel somehow.
But yeah, if you had Toyota or Denny Hamlin, both, I would say that you got hosed because Toyota was strong in that race.
Yeah, I mean, Reddick was second. And yeah, that was a tough one.
You have one?
Well, you
Rich?
have
No, I don't have any got hose stories except
Okay.
for,
You
I
know,
didn't
no
get to be
bets.
on the show last week, and I've been in Colorado not betting on anything, so I haven't got hosed.
We got hosed. We didn't get to go.
Well, my "You Got Hosed" story, it's an easy one for me. It goes out to anyone who has Spectrum as their television service. Right now, if you got Spectrum, you don't get any ESPN channels. That meant no ESPN college football opening week, to the chagrin of my dad and you and me.
Yeah.
No U.S. Open tennis all week.
No.
Probably no Monday Night Football coming up. No Sports Center. I mean,
The
Spectrum
college
sucks.
games. The college games. There's a lot that
man.
I'm missing.
So thank God I pay extra for DirecTV. Anyone who has Spectrum got and is getting hosed
I do have another host story. Anybody had the under in the Florida State game?
right at the end.
Right at the end. That was a host story.
There's been some bad ones already, but
Well, if you had the over, you barely won, but LSU never came out of the locker
That
room.
was a weird game,
Did not
wasn't it?
score at all
I thought it
Saturday.
was strange.
yeah, they got 7. It was
Yeah,
17-14. Yeah.
got a cheap
was it.
one.
You got hosed.
All right, that wraps it up. Good show, guys.
Yeah,
Good
thank
stuff.
you.
Welcome back, football, NFL, college. Exciting times. Big Rich, Joe the Answer Ellison, Gator Gates. Good job, guys. Another show in the can.
You've been listening to Covering the Field. Email us at coveringthefield@gmail.com for all your comments or questions. Find us on Twitter @CoveringField. And of course, always check out the website for our picks of the week and updated articles. coveringthefield.com.